Guys, this is Duel Replay episode number 2, and yeah, today I'm playing Invoked Dogmatika again, and I'm playing against a Sky Striker player, and I'm right here starting, and my hand looks really decent. I have like both engines that I need, the Terraforming for the Elster and the 97 for the Dogmatika engine, and also Trap Trick, which is really strong in my deck because I can set, if I get hand trapped, the Dogmatika punishment or the Ice Dragon's Prison. So this is like a really good hand that I have right here. His hand is also looks pretty decent. Yeah, here's the effect Whaler, Triple Tactics Talents, and also the really scary Red Ice Fusion. Alright, I start right here by using Terraforming. He lets it go through, has no Ash Blossom, so he can't Ash it. Use the Magical Meltdown, get Alistair, a normal Alistair, and then he wailers the Alistair. This is like okay for me because if he doesn't gamma it, I have an easy time because I can still go into the Almirage and then also into the Secure Gardener. Here you could also only go into the Almirage to maybe protect your Dogmatika cards from destruction, but I don't know that I play against Sky Striker here, so I don't do it. Then I activate the Nadir Servant, get the Ecclesia, and then I also sent the Titaniclet to search in the end phase, affect Ecclesia, special her, search with Ecclesia, this goes through. He doesn't have another hand trap, obviously. Get the Dogmatika punishment, set all of my 4 back row. I'm like really well equipped right here because I have 2 infinite permanents, Dogmatika punishment, a trap trick, so yeah, this is like a really good board. He draws another effect where that doesn't help, but yeah, he just decides to use the shark cannon on my Alistair, which I don't really understand. Yeah, maybe he thinks I draw another invocation or whatever, but he used it because then after that he used the Red Ice Fusion, and this just shows how strong Red Ice Dragoon is, because right here there's nothing I can do to prevent the Red Ice Fusion from going off. Like impermanence doesn't help, punishment doesn't help, Trap Tricks is the only card that does something against Dragoon, but he can just simply negate it by discarding 1 card. So I'm pretty screwed in this scenario right here, and yeah, there's like nothing I could do to stop the Dragoon. And yeah, he also then activates the Dragoon, shoots both of my monsters. I at first took the HP, but then I read Secure Gardener again, and he says the first damage that comes also affect damage, so I don't take from the first, but from the second I take 1000 then. And he also attacks with Dragoon. And right now I'm like in a top deck situation because if I use Trap Trick, he can simply negate it, or simply negate then the Ice Dragon's Prison. But it's like good that I have the Ice Dragon's Prison, but I have like 3 cards that are useless against Dragoon. So yeah, he ends his turn because he cannot do anything anymore, and yeah, because he used Red Ice Fusion. So my top deck right here is like really amazing. There were 2 top decks that could help me, or maybe if I could did draw some engine, this would also have helped me, because then I could have maybe baited the Dragoon and then use the trap trick that I had set. But this is like also a really fine draw because it's the second out against Dragoon, because you need 2 outs against Dragoon. This is why this card is so degenerate and dumb. He draws for turn, gets a Mystic Mine, and then yeah, this is like the first Ice Dragon's Prison I use in the standby phase to just bait out the Red Ice Dragoon. Yeah, he obviously has to negate that, and because this is says you can only activate it once per turn, so it's not used. So that means I can use a second Ice Dragon's Prison. Then he normal Sky Striker Ace Ray goes straight into battle phase and attacks me. And right here, this is like really bad because if I use Trap Trick, I can't use another trap then after that. But I really want to use in this turn the Dogmatika punishment, but I can't right now because I can't destroy Dragoon. And if I try to target Ray to send the Titaniclet, Ray would just tribute herself. So I just decide not to use it, and Yeah, if Ray tributes herself, I also do not destroy and cannot send. So yeah, I just straight up use the trap trick and then send the other Ice Strings Prison, banish it, and set the other, then activate Ice Strings Prison, banish the Dragoon. Now I'm finally getting rid of it by banishing Dark Magician and Dragoon. And he can still attack with Ray, and then take out Ray and get the Hayate, attack with the Hayate, and then send with the Hayate, because I cannot use any of my back row anymore, can't use impermanence and anything. That's why, because as I said, Trap Trick locks me out. Then, yeah, he sends Jamming Wave, which is like pretty strong because I only have back row. But he doesn't have, yeah, he has 4 or more traps, spells in the graveyard, so that's like really good. Then he gets it back with Kagari and used it, and unfortunately also hits my Dogmatika Punishment, which was my only way to go into engine. Now I only have like 2 permanent set right here. So it gets even worse. If he hit one of those others, it would be way better for me. Then he goes into Shizuku and searches in the end phase the Horned Drones. Then I draw, and I top deck Ecclesia, which is like one of the best cards I could top deck right here. And Alistair would obviously be better, but yeah. Then he shows me again what he searched because I asked for it. And yeah, I special the Ecclesia in defense mode because I only have like 1000 HP left and use the effect. He uses the second Whaler. Yeah, basically screwed right there. But Ecclesia is like really good against Striker because they need to go into their link 2 to outer because they cannot just attack over it. But the problem is I only have like 1000 HP left, so yeah, he can just attack me direct with Hayate. But he uses the Hornet Drones, then links away into a Kagari, which is like fine because and he also adds back the Hornet Drones, which I don't really understand right here. He could have just added back the Jamming Waves or even the Shark Cannon to either shoot a back row or get something from my graveyard back to Link or something like that. But alright, he uses he takes the Hornet Runs. I think it's not necessary to take the Hornet Runs if you have a Ray in the grave. You will always be safe if you have a Ray in the grave. Then he goes for Seek and attempts to banish my card to get over it, but I use impermanence. And then he also goes into Hayate. And now if he added back right here the Jamming Waves, he could have just shoot my other back row with it, and he would have just simply won because there's nothing on my hand, nothing on my field that could stop the Hayate. So yeah, I think that was a misplay on his side. Yeah, use the impermanence so he cannot attack me directly. He takes it out into a Shizuku, and then searches with Shizuku Widow Anchor. And it's my turn. I draw Nibiru, the Primal Being. If I drew another thing right here, it would have maybe helped, but I didn't, so yeah. But he still had like a Whaler, so even if I top deck the Alistair, it wouldn't help, so yeah. I scoop right here. This was game 1. And we go into game 2. I actually decide to go second. I sided in some Harpy's Feather Dust, one Harpy's Feather Duster. I can't cite more than one, you know, but also Cosmic Cyclone. I think Cosmic Cyclone is like really good against Striker. Yeah, my starting hand right here is pretty okay. I have a hand trap to stop whatever he wants to get back. Punishment, Droplet, Alistair and Droplet together is like always pretty good going second. Also Cosmic Cyclone to out some back row. He starts with Red Ice Fusion. He has like a really weird hand to go first. Yeah, he also got the Dark Magician, so yeah. Yeah, but he starts by using the Red Ice Fusion. I have no Ash, so I can't Ash it. He gets the Dragoon. I really don't get why he's not placing him in the extra monster zone, because if he does that, he could have set it the Shark Cannon and still used it. So yeah, I think there's a bit... He could have done it better, maybe. Yeah, I started here by non-summoning the Alistair and attempting to use its effect. I really didn't think he would use Dragoon that early, but I I did like a really weird misplay here. I really can't remember why I didn't just use the droplet to negate the Dragoon. I could have just used one of my cards from my hand to negate the Dragoon, and I could still just link away the Alistair, but I just let it go through. I really don't know why I did that, but uh, yeah, I'm still in a really good position because I have the Dogmatica punishment, which I can get my engine rolling, and still two ways to outer Dragoon. I have the droplet and also the Ice Strings Prison. So I'm really fine right here. I just decided to set all my 5 cards. If he top decked like Happy's Feather Duster, I would have been dead. But yeah, that's like the risk. Then it's his turn. He top decks an Ash Blossom, which is actually really good right here, because then with this one he can stop my Titanic Let. So yeah, this was like a really good top deck. He goes into main phase normals. This Sky Striker is Rose, and yeah, he plays a bit too fast right here. I tell him that I want to react on the normal summon because yeah, I can just use punishment, shoot a Rose, and then send the Titanic Light, and he can't go into his Sky Striker monsters. So yeah, I think that was okay. Then he goes straight into the battle phase. He attacks. I use Ice Dragon's Prison, target the Dark Magician. He uses Dragoon to negate it, and I use Droplet, and then just lay away the Ice Dragon's Prison to negate the Dragoon, and then yeah, Dragoon and Dark Magician get both banished. Yeah, then it's end phase. I use I want to use the effect of the Titanic Let, but he uses his last card, which is Ash Blossom. So yeah, but he's in a worse situation than I am because I still have Cosmic and Impermanence, and that now we're both in a top deck situation. I top deck Fleur de Lis, which is not that great in the situation because I can't special summon her. His turn, he top decks Mystic Mine, also not really the best thing to have. It's no engine, yeah. So then it's my turn again. I top deck Ice Dragon's Prison. This is like okay. I just said it, and it's his turn because I can also actually play with Ice Dragon's Prison if I want to. I can just get a monster from his graveyard. But I decided to keep it and just see what the top decks bring. He top decks Triple Tactic Talents, which just gives him nothing in this situation. I got Cosmic, this also doesn't help me. But he now top decks the Sky Striker Ray, and now he continues to play normal summon Ray. Then straight goes into the battle phase and attacks me. But actually I tell him I want to think on the summon, but I decide to not do anything and just take the damage from Ray. Then he uses the effect of Ray and goes into Hayate. And I also take the Hayate. I could have maybe impermed her here, but I see no point in imperming her. Because I can just later imperm the Kagari, and then when I do that, he can't get back whatever he threw into the graveyard because he actually has like 3 spells already, so it doesn't help to have more. And then if I imperm the Kagari, he also can't add in the end phase with the Shizuku and the Widow Anchor because he already has one in his grave. So yeah, I think it's better to not stop the Hayate if you don't have to. Yeah. Then he goes into main phase 2, goes for the Kagari, and he's a bit too fast right here. I want to negate the Kagaris, as I said before. Then he goes into Shizuku and goes into end phase. And yeah, then adds Afterburner because yeah, he couldn't add the Widow Anchor anymore. So it's my turn. I actually top deck in Ecclesia, which is like really good in the situation. And yeah, attempt to special summon her, use her effect, search for Dogmatica Punishment, and then use Fleur de Lis to special Fleur de Lis. And yeah, then in the battle phase, I use Ice Rings Prison to get back his Ray so he can't special summon her when I destroy the Shizuku. I attack with Fleur de Lis. Fleur de Lis pushes all the Dogmatica monster by 500, and then I also attack with with Ray and also the Ecclesia. Then main phase 2, I set also the punishment. I'm like really good right here. 2 cosmic, 1 punishment. And it's his turn, he activates Mystic Mine. It's my turn, I have 2 cosmics set. I just straight go into the battle phase, activate cosmic, and then siding and progress. So it's actually now his time to decide who's going first or second. I side right here for going first because I'm really sure he wants to let me go first. And yeah, I was right. I have to go first here. This hand is like, yeah, it's okay. I got access to Alistair, but the rest, yeah, I actually lose to 1 hand trap, as you will see right now, but he has a drawn lockburst, so my hand is like really okay then, because if I had more stuff to search, this wouldn't have helped. So it's like better to have the engine then. He opens with area space S0 and also multi-roll, which is like really good, and also Widow Anchor and a draw, but also the red ass black dragon. Yeah, you always draw the bricks. I tell you, don't play decks with bricks. And also Sanctum is like really good against this deck. Yeah, I activate terraforming, get the meltdown, try to use the meltdown, but he tells me he wants to use the drawn lockbird after adding the meltdown, so I take the meltdown back to the hand, and then set like 2. I could have also set a droplet here, but I thought it wasn't necessary because if he also if he has like the lightning storm, I lose like way too much when I also set a droplet. But I'm like really safe here because as you see in the standby phase, I'm using Artifact Sanctum to special summon out the Scythe. But he actually top decked an Impermanence and used it on the Scythe. But my thinking was like really simple. He cannot go into Dragoon when I Scythe him, so yeah, that was the plan. But he has also an Impermanence. But at least he has no Red Eyes Fusion, which is like really fortunate for me. Because if he would have put out a Dragoon here, it would have been like really hard for me. I still had a Droplet and Ice Strength Prison, so I could have managed that, but yeah, it would have changed the situation a bit, I think. Yeah, he just shoots with his multi-roll the Sky Striker area space 0 and special summons Ray from his deck, then uses Ray, goes into Hayate, attacks me directly, I take damage, he milts an Afterburner. Yeah, he wants to shoot my field, but I don't know really why he did. He already has the Widow Anchor, so yeah, that's maybe why. He adds back with the Kagari, the Afterburner, but not decide. It doesn't decide to use it. I maybe would have used it right here because he still had like a multi-roll. He could have just shoot my Scythe, so I would have had a monster less. So yeah, but he has a Widow Anchor, so he's in a pretty fine situation, I think. And he also has Jamming Wave with Shizuku. Now I know his hand. He has like Afterburner and Jamming Waves, and I only don't know the Red Eyes Black Dragon. So yeah. And it's my turn. I draw Dogmatika Punishment for turn, which is like really good. And I use Magical Meltdown at Alistair. Normal Alistair. Use the effect of Alistair. He tries to negate it with Widow Anchor, but I use a droplet to tribute Alistair. And then you search the invocation. And yeah, I negated the Shizuku just right here. That shows like how strong droplet just is in Dogmatika-Invoked, because it just protects your Alistair better than Called by the Grave. So yeah, you don't need that many Called by the Grave in this deck. Then I activate A Strength's Prison to get his Ray. I thought about getting Ray right here to just overrun the Shizuku, so he couldn't do that, couldn't do anything. But then I decide to OTK him right here because I changed my extra deck a bit. I added in the Alistair the Invoker of Madness. So yeah. And then I use Invocation. And yeah, then he scoops back because this was like an OTK right here, because I would have banished the Alistair and also the Ray, so he couldn't special summon it back, and special summon a Kaliga. And then Alistair the Invoker of Madness would trigger. I would then send to the grave the Dogmatika punishment and get another invocation, and then special summon a Mechaba, and also special summon the Fleur-de-Lis. Then I would have had 5 monsters, Fleur-de-Lis, Mechaba, and yeah, then I would have just linked away the Fleur-de-Lis, the Alistair, and also the Kaliga for Boar Sword, and then this would have just been game. So yeah, this was okay for him to scoop here because he was dead, and now I also I know also that his card in the hand was nothing that could have stopped me. Alright guys, I hope you liked the second episode of Duel reviews, so yeah, stay tuned for more of those videos, and see you, bye bye.